Of all the Axis powers or their allies, Thailand is one of the least discussed. It's a country which prior to the war had little contact with the rest of the Axis and was surrounded by allied colonies, which, given the risks, raises the question, why did Thailand help the Axis? So Thailand was famously a nation that avoided colonization by European powers. And whilst it was never a part of anybody's empire, there were still territorial losses. These came at the hands of two powers. The British, who in the late 19th and early 20th centuries took these lands, and the French, who during the same period robbed Thailand of all of this. It won't surprise you to note that as a result, the Thai held quite a grudge against the British and the French, although mostly the French. In the 1930s, Thailand found itself ruled by a military dictatorship, headed by Plague Thibon Songkran, who wanted to get these lands back. The only way that the new government figured it could do that was by growing the economy, modernizing the armed forces, and waiting for a moment of weakness. And this moment came in 1940, when Britain was on the back foot and France was in a spot of surrender. The Thais realized that Paris's hold over Indochina wasn't that strong anymore, and so now was the time. The Bangkok government tried to negotiate with Vichy France for the return of these territories, and the French said no. As such, it was time to try and make friends, and the best candidate was Japan. The Japanese government was eyeing up French Indochina, and if Japan took all of it, then Thailand would struggle to get anything back at all. Fortunately, the Japanese had been sending delegates to Bangkok to entice the Thai to join them in a future war against the British, because Japan needed to cross Thailand to get to India and Singapore. As such, the Thai government told the Japanese that they would give them military access to their lands in return for this territory. The Japanese said yes, and so sent weapons to Thailand, who began to prepare for an invasion which they telegraphed to the world. Japan, Germany and Italy were all for it, whereas Britain made it clear that they weren't going to defend France's Asian territories. It just wanted assurances that Thailand wasn't going to attack India or Malaya. The Americans were opposed, but they weren't involved in the war, so nobody cared what they thought. Thai forces invaded French Indochina in late 1940, and whilst the Thai did well at first, the Japanese were concerned that the French could eventually hold them off, and as such they intervened and negotiated. It was decided that French Indochina, soon to become Japanese Indochina, would cede this territory to Thailand in return for them aiding the Japanese. Now this wasn't Thailand formally joining the Axis. Berlin and Rome didn't care about Bangkok, but it was useful to Tokyo, which was enough. However, when the time came to help, Thibon Songkran refused. He declared neutrality in hope that the Japanese would just go around. They did not. Knowing that he was going to lose, he quickly made an agreement with the Japanese, and alongside them declared war on the United States and the United Kingdom. Now, Thailand didn't enjoy its position as an ally of Japan, and when Tokyo's fortune started to change, Thailand's rulers looked for a way out. To keep them sweet, the Japanese ceded these territories, but it still wasn't enough. Thibon Songkran was removed from office in 1944, and the new government secretly tried to get the Allies on board. The British reluctantly agreed, so long as the territory that Thailand had taken from it was returned. However, the British didn't care if the French got theirs back or not. And with that, Thailand's role in World War II was over. And in 1948, Thibon Songkran would be back in charge because he didn't like communists, and that was good enough.